Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're re-diving into the digital graveyard to ask a question that has probably crossed your mind at some point. Whatever happened to that app I used to love? We've all been there. One day you're creating 6-second comedy gold or checking in at your favorite coffee shop, and the next, poof, the app is gone, leaving a ghost on your home screen and a bunch of memories. From viral sensations to daily utilities, some apps just vanish from the face of the earth, or at least, from the app stores. So, what's the real story? Is it just bad luck, poor management, or is there something bigger at play? Today we're uncovering the real reasons why some of the most popular apps suddenly disappeared. We'll look at the rise and fall of giants, the costly mistakes they made, and the lessons we can learn from their spectacular demises. Stick around because you won't believe some of these stories. Let's start with a true icon of the short-form video world, an app that walked so others could run. I'm talking, of course, about Vine. Remember Vine? For a glorious few years, it was the epicenter of internet culture. Its 6-second looping videos gave birth to a new generation of creators and a unique style of rapid-fire comedy. Phrases like on fleek and what are thus went from quirky inside jokes to mainstream slang, all thanks to this little green app. It was acquired by Twitter in 2012 before it even officially launched, which seemed like a genius move. So what went wrong? How did the king of short video lose its crown? The main culprit was a failure to adapt and monetize. While Vine was busy creating culture, other platforms like Instagram and Snapchat were creating business models. They introduced longer video formats, robust advertising options, and most importantly, they started paying creators. Vine stars, who had built massive followings, saw the writing on the wall. Why create for free on Vine when they could earn a living on YouTube or Instagram? They started leaving in droves, and their audiences followed. Twitter, facing its own financial pressures, was slow to react. By the time they considered a monetization plan, it was too late. The community had fractured. In late 2016, Twitter announced it was shutting down Vine, preserving the old videos as an archive but ending all new uploads. Vine's story is a classic tale of innovating on culture but failing to innovate on business. It created a format that would later be perfected and monetized by its rivals, most notably TikTok. Next up, let's talk about an app that gamified our social lives, Foursquare. Back in the early 2010s, checking in was a huge deal. You'd arrive at a restaurant, a park, or a concert, and the first thing you'd do was pull out your phone and check in on Foursquare. It was a digital way of saying, I was here. The real thrill, though, was competing with your friends for mayorships. Being the mayor of your local coffee shop or your office was a legitimate badge of honor. It was fun, competitive, and strangely addictive. But then Foursquare made a decision that baffled its entire user base. In 2014, they split the app in two. They moved the core check-in feature to a brand new app called Swarm, while the original Foursquare app became a location discovery service. Kind of like Yelp. The logic was that users had two distinct needs, finding new places and telling friends where they were. But in practice it just confused and alienated everyone. People who loved the game of checking in and earning mayorships suddenly had to download a whole new app. Many just didn't bother. The social momentum was lost almost overnight. The seamless experience was gone, replaced by a clunky TOPQO system. This strategic pivot is a textbook example of a company misreading its own audience. Foursquare thought it knew what its users wanted better than they did, and it paid the price. The original magic of a single, unified social game was gone, and with it, the millions of users who made it special. Remember the app that promised to be the anonymous social network, the one where you could say anything without fear of judgment? That was Yik Yak. Launched in 2013, Yik Yak was a sensation on college campuses. It was an anonymous message board where posts were visible only to people within a 5-mile radius. It became the go-to place for campus gossip, inside jokes, and unfiltered confessions. At its peak, it was valued at a staggering $400 million. But the very thing that made Yik Yak so popular and anonymity also became its biggest liability. Without names attached to posts, the platform quickly became a breeding ground for cyberbullying, harassment, and threats. Schools, high schools, and colleges across the country started banning the app to protect their students. Yik Yak tried to solve the problem. They implemented content moderation, phone number verification, and even toyed with optional user handles, but it was a delicate balancing act. Every step they took to make the platform safer seemed to erode the core appeal of true anonymity. Users who came for the wild, unfiltered experience started to leave. The company's growth stalled, and they couldn't secure the new funding they needed to stay afloat. In 2017, after burning through over $70 million in investment, Yik Yak announced it was shutting down. Its story is a powerful cautionary tale about the double-edged sword of anonymity online. While it can foster honesty, it can just as easily unleash our worst impulses, and building a sustainable community on that foundation proved to be impossible. Now, let's look at a case of a big player getting pushed out of its own game. I'm talking about Google+. When Google launched its own social network in 2011, It felt like a declaration of war against Facebook. With its massive resources and a user base of, well, everyone who uses Google, it seemed destined for success. Google Plus had some cool features, like circles for organizing friends into different groups and hangouts for group video chat, which was pretty revolutionary at the time. Google pushed it hard, integrating it into everything from Gmail to YouTube. You couldn't even leave a YouTube comment without a Google Plus account, but that aggressive push was part of the problem. People felt forced into it. It didn't feel like an organic social space. It felt like a corporate mandate. Most people created an account because they had to, logged in once, and never came back. It became the butt of jokes, a digital ghost town. Despite Google's claims of hundreds of millions of users, engagement was incredibly low. The final nail in the coffin was a series of security breaches that exposed the private data of hundreds of thousands of users. In 2018, Google finally threw in the towel and announced the shutdown of the consumer version of Google+. The lesson here: you can't force a community into existence. Even with all the money and power in the world, a social network needs a genuine spark, a reason for people to want to be there. Google Plus never found that spark. What about an app that was simply ahead of its time? Let's discuss Meerkat. In early 2015, Meerkat was the talk of the tech world. It was a simple app that let you live stream video directly from your phone to your Twitter followers. It exploded in popularity, seemingly overnight. For a few weeks it was the future, but its reliance on Twitter's social graph was also its greatest weakness. Just as Meerkat was taking off, Twitter acquired a rival live streaming app called Periscope. Unsurprisingly, Twitter then decided to cut off Meerkat's access to its social graph, hamstring its ability to notify followers and grow. It was a brutal, but predictable, business move. At the same time, Facebook jumped into the fray with Facebook Live. Suddenly, Meerkat was a small startup caught between two of the biggest giants in social media. They were outmatched and out-resourced. They couldn't compete. To their credit, the team didn't just give up. They pivoted, trying to transform Meerkat into a group video chat app called House Party. But the initial magic was gone. By 2016, the original Meerkat app was pulled from the App Store. Its story is a stark reminder of the dangers of building your house on someone else's land. Relying on another platform's infrastructure is a risky game, because at any moment, the landlord can change the rules or, in this case, simply kick you out. So, what's the common thread here? Why do these once-loved apps end up in the digital graveyard? It's rarely just one thing. For Vine, it was a failure to monetize and support its creators. For Foursquare, it was a catastrophic strategic pivot that alienated its core user base. Yik Yak was destroyed by the very anonymity that made it famous, failing to control the toxicity it enabled. Google Plus showed us that you can't force a community, no matter how big your company is. And Meerkat was a classic case of a small innovator being crushed by the giants whose platform it relied on. It's a brutal landscape. The tech world moves at lightning speed, and user loyalty is fleeting. An app can go from being the center of the universe to a distant memory in just a couple of years. It takes a perfect combination of innovation, smart business strategy, community management, and a little bit of luck to survive. The moment you stop adapting, stop listening to your users, or get on the wrong side of a platform owner, the clock starts ticking. These apps aren't just lines of code that got deleted. They were communities, cultural moments, and for a brief time a part of our daily lives. Their stories are a fascinating, and often sad, glimpse into the high-stakes world of technology. So what do you think? Were you a diehard Vine, a Foursquare mayor? Did you ever post on Yik Yak? Let me know in the comments below which defunct app you miss the most. And if there are any other app postmortems you'd like to see, tell me down there as well. It's a fascinating topic, and there are so many more stories to tell. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, do you want to forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of tech? We'll see you in the next one.